Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel from EvelynAndPeter, and today I have the Boxy Blooms blanket to share with you guys. So if you made my Boxy Blooms cardigan or Boxy Blooms pullover, then you should recognize this. It is the same stitches that I used in both of those patterns, and then I used it with Ferris wheel yarn by Lion Brand. I think this is my most favorite blanket that I've ever made. Just the color combination of these two yarns, I love it. I'm actually going to stand up so you can see a little bit better. It's a nice sized blanket, and honestly it worked up very quickly for how large it is. So if you enjoyed either one of those designs and working the stitches with it, then you'll love this blanket. It just with all of the double crochets and chains and stuff that you have, it works up very quickly and works for a nice drapey throw blanket. Plus these two colors, amazing. And then if you want to swap out any colors, you can with the kit on Lion Brand. So this pattern is free on my blog, EvelynAndPeter.com. And then it's also the kit with Lion Brand. You can find that on their website. That comes with a free copy of the printable PDF pattern, and then you can swap out your colors. So I'm using two different colors here, and you change every 2 rows throughout the blanket. But don't worry, there's no ends to weave in. We're just going to float our yarn up the side as we go, and then later crochet the border around it. So works up very quickly and is easy to do, not much ends to weave in at all. So if you want to swap out your colors, you can, but I love these two that I use. They have a ton of different really cute ones though as well, if you want to customize the colors for your home. And then if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, make sure you do that on my website, and then I will let you guys know whenever I release any new designs or patterns. You'll be the first to know. If there's a really good sale happening on any of my kits or in any of my shops, you'll be the first to know, as well as coupon codes and things like that. So make sure you're subscribed. It's also going to be in my Etsy store as well as my Ravelry store, and then of course this full video tutorial to go along with the written pattern. So I hope you guys like it. Not much to know about the pattern. I go over everything here in the video and in the written one as well. So I will link to everything in the description for you. And I hope you guys enjoy. So for the Boxy Blooms blanket, you are going to need a worsted weight yarn. I'm using Lion Brand's Ferris wheel yarn. I highly recommend getting this specific yarn. They have lots of pretty colors to choose from. You're going to need it in 2 different colors. I'm using the colors Imaginary Garden as well as Summer Day. You can check out all the exact yardage on my blog, but you'll need multiple skeins of each of these. And then you're also going to need a 5mm crochet hook, a needle, and a pair of scissors to weave in your ends. We are going to be starting off the blanket with yarn A, which is the Summer Day color, and you're just going to create a slip knot. So go ahead and just grab your yarn A, wrap it around your fingers, and go ahead and stick your hook through and pull the yarn to create a slip knot. And then we're just going to start off with a long starting chain. So just yarn over and pull through that loop on your hook a total of 204 times. So that is going to be the width of our blanket. If you prefer your blanket to be wider or not as wide, you can adjust that by adjusting how many chains you have by plus or minus 12. So I'm just doing a little swatch of the blanket here. That's why my starting chain is so short. Yours will obviously be the width of a blanket. So once you have as many chains as you're going to create, you are going to just yarn over and then locate that 5th chain from the hook, insert your hook into that back bump, and we're working a double crochet into it. So we've skipped over and we're working into that 5th chain from the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is 1 double crochet, and those skipped chains also count as a double crochet as well. And then in the very next chain, work a 2nd double crochet. So we now have those starting chains plus the 2 double crochet that we have made. So for a total of 3 here. And now we are going to chain 3 and skip over the next 3 chains below. So count out 3 chains, and in that 4th chain you can yarn over, insert your hook. Again, I like to insert mine in the back bump, and then just yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2 for our first double crochet. And now do that 2 more times, so a second double crochet into the next chain, and then a 3rd double crochet into the chain right after that. And this is what we are going to be repeating across the row. So we're just going to chain 3, skip 3, 3 double crochet all the way to the end of the row. So go ahead and work your way across, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so you should have a total of 201 stitches, and that will be your stitch count throughout the entirety of the blanket. So once you get to the end of row 1, you can go ahead and chain 3 and turn your work. So that chain 3 does count as 1 double crochet. So we have our first double crochet, and now we are going to work a front post double crochet around the next stitch. So in the center of those 3, you're going to insert your hook and just kind of place the post of that stitch on top of your hook, and then work a double crochet around that post. So instead of into the top of it like you normally would, you're just working around the post. And then we're going to work 1 more double crochet into the next stitch, just into the top like you normally would. So we have a chain 3, a front post double crochet, and then a double crochet. Now you can go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to be working double crochet stitches into the starting chain here. So it's going to be from 2 rows below instead of just the previous row. And we're just going to be working them into that center chain of that 3. So locate the center chain of those skipped 3 from the starting chain and insert your hook. And then that chain from the previous row will just be laying on top of your hook. You're going to work your double crochet around it. So yarn over and then pull up a loop. You're working around the chain from the previous row. And then you want to kind of pull the height of your double crochet stitch up a little bit. Not too high because you don't want your stitch to be loose, but just slightly taller than what you normally would. And then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 for 1 double crochet. And then go ahead and chain 1 again, and we're going to skip over the next chain and then work a double crochet into the top of the next double crochet. So we chained 1, and then we worked a double crochet 2 rows below, and then chained 1 again, and it creates kind of a little window pane look. And then we're going to work a front post double crochet around the next stitch, so just like we did before, and then a double crochet into the top of the following. So we did our chain 1, our double crochet 2 rows below, chain 1, and then double crochet, front post double crochet, double crochet. That is what you're going to be repeating all the way across the row. So you can do the same thing, chain 1, locate that chain from the starting chain, the one in the center, and then work a double crochet, making sure you pull up your stitch slightly higher than normal to bring it up to height. Finish your double crochet, chain 1, and then work your double, your front post, and your double. So work your way across, and I will meet you at the end of the row. Okay, we have 3 stitches remaining here. I just did my last chain 1, 1 double crochet 2 rows below, and chain 1. We have 3 stitches remaining. We're going to work a double crochet into the top of the next stitch, a front post double crochet into that center stitch. And then we can't forget to do our final double crochet. It's going to be into the top of that turning chain. So make sure you don't forget that last one. You should have a group of 3 double crochets at the end here. Locate that top chain and then work your final double crochet into it. So our stitch count, of course, is remaining the same. And now instead of yarning over and pulling through the last 2 at the end of our double crochet like you normally would, we're going to bring in a second color. So normally you would just yarn over, pull through, but because we are switching colors every 2 rows, you're going to bring in yarn B and just place it on your hook and do that final pull through with yarn B. Then you can just kind of give your yarns a little tug and make sure it's nice and secure. You don't have to pull too tightly. And you can drop the yarn that we were working with, and now yarn B is our working yarn. So once we've switched colors, we're going to work the next 2 rows with yarn B. So starting off for row 3, you can chain 5. So just yarn over and pull through a total of 5 times and turn your work. And this chain 5 counts as 1 double crochet plus 2 chains. So it's going to be for a counting as a total of 3 towards our stitch count at the end of the row. So because of that, we get to skip over those next stitches, and our first double crochet is going to be made into the chain 1 space. So you can work it into the space. You don't have to work it into the actual chain stitch, just work it into the space, and then work a double crochet into the top of the next stitch and a 3rd double crochet into that next chain 1 space. Then you can go ahead and chain 3, skip over the next 3, work a double crochet into the next chain 1 space, a double crochet into the top of the next stitch, and a double crochet into the following chain 1 space. And then that is what you're going to be repeating across the row. So go ahead and work your way across, and then I'm going to be meeting you at the end here. When you have 3 stitches remaining, you can just go ahead and chain 2, skip 2, and then we're going to work our final double crochet into the top of that chain 3. So again, locate that chain 3 from the previous row and just work your double crochet into the very top of it. That completes row 3. So that's what it's going to look like. Now you can go ahead and chain 3 and turn your work to begin row 4. So this chain 3 does count as a double crochet. And row 4, we're going to be working a puff stitch row. So yarn over, and then in that very first chain, so the very next stitch, insert your hook, and then you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 5 loops on our hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 7 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 9 loops on your hook. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops except that very last one. So you can count, make sure you have 9, then yarn over, pull through. Don't drop your yarn like I just did. And then you'll have 2 loops on your hook now. And then we're just going to yarn over and pull through 2 to complete the puff. After the puff, we need to work a chain 1, skip the next chain, and then we're going to work a double crochet into the top of the next stitch, a front post double crochet around the following, and a double crochet into the top of the stitch after that. So I'm going to show you the puff stitches one more time. You can chain 1, skip that chain, and in the center chain of that group of 3, yarn over and insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. So you do that 4 times. Then yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook except the last one, and then yarn over, pull through 2 to complete the puff, and then chain 1. And then go right back into the double crochet, front post double crochet into that group of 3 below. And that's what you're going to repeat across the row. I will meet you at the end. Okay, we're coming to the end of the row here. I have 3 stitches remaining, so that is that chain 5 from the previous. So make sure you don't mix any of these chains up here. You are going to chain 1, skip the first chain of the chain 5, and in the following, work your final puff stitch. So it'll be the skipping the first chain closest to us, and in that very next one, work your puff. And then we will finish with a double crochet into the top of the chain directly after that. So it'll be the 3rd chain now of that chain 5. So we skipped 1, and then we worked a puff in the following, and then a double crochet into the 3rd. So now we are switching colors once again because we've done 2 rows with color B, so we need to switch back to color A. So pick color A back up. You won't cut and join at all in this blanket. You're just going to pick it back up and float it up along the side of your work. Place it on your hook and do the final pull through with color A. And then just give a slight tug. So you can see we're creating these little floats along the side of our work, which we will later crochet the border on top of and hide them later on. Make sure you're not pulling your yarn too tight. You don't want your work to start folding, but then you also don't want it too loose so that it's hanging around and making giant loops. So just try and keep it floating right along the edge. And you can just drop the previous color, leave it there. We will come back to it later. Once we work our 2 rows, we can pick that other one back up as well. So no cutting and joining, just leave your yarn. Okay, now we are going to chain 3 and turn our work, and we are beginning row 5. And so for row 5, the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Work a double crochet into the next stitch and a double crochet into that chain 1 space. So we have our 3 stitches and then chain 3, skip over the next 3, and again work a double crochet into the chain 1 space, a double crochet in top of the puff, and a double crochet in the chain 1 space. And you're just going to repeat that across the row. So chain 3, skip 3, 3 double crochet, working 1 into the chain 1 space, 1 into the top of the puff, and 1 into that next chain 1 space. So they're just the chain spaces on either side of the puff stitch. Okay, we did our last chain 3 and we have 3 stitches remaining. Work your double crochet into the chain 1 space just before the puff, work a double crochet into the top of the puff, and then your final double crochet into the chain 3. So locate that chain 3. This is important not to miss that very last stitch of the row. You don't want your stitch count to be off. And just work your final double crochet into the top of it. So that completes row 5. Go ahead and turn your work to begin row 6. We are chaining 3, and the chain 3 once again counts as a double crochet. And we're going to just be doing the same thing as we previously have with those long double crochets working 2 rows below, but I just wanted to show you how it's going to look working into a normal row. So work a front post double crochet and then a double crochet into the top of the next. Now chain 1, just like we did previously, go 2 rows below, and in that center stitch of those 3 double crochet is where you're going to insert your hook into the top of it, still working around the chain from the previous row, and then pull up your double crochet so that it's a little bit taller than normal and complete your stitch and chain 1. So it's just like we have been, except we're not working into the starting chain now, we're working into stitches. Double crochet into the next, front post double crochet around the following, double crochet into the next, and then just go ahead and repeat this across the row. Chain 1, double crochet 2 rows below, chain 1, 1 double, 1 front post double, 1 double. Okay, we're coming up to the last 3 stitches of the row here. I just did my final chain 1, and then I'm going to work a double crochet into the top of the next stitch, a front post double around the following, and then a double crochet into the top of the last stitch, which is the chain 3 from the previous row. But don't forget, we are switching colors here, so we need to switch back to yarn B. So before you do that last yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops, you're going to drop your current yarn and then pick up the yarn B and place it on your hook, and then just pull through for that last yarn over and pull through. Now we've switched back. You can see the floats going up along the side. You work 2 rows for every color. You will always be switching your yarn color on the same side of the blanket. So all of your floats will be on the same side, and you leave these 2 skeins of yarn attached the whole time. Don't cut or join, and then you just pull up and work the little floats. So after the next 2 rows, switch yarn colors again and just continue on throughout. So here's what our little swatch looks like. We have 6 rows here. And for the remainder of the blanket, you're just going to be repeating rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the last 4 rows that I just showed you are going to be what we're repeating, and it's written out in the pattern on my blog as well if you want to follow along. So the next row repeat will be a row 3 repeat. And that is just where you do the 3 double crochet, chain 3, skip 3 across, and then the one after that will be the puff row, and then row 5 will just be the 3 double crochet, chain 3, skip 3, and then the row 6 repeat is of course the double crochet from 2 rows below. So just repeat rows 3 through 6 over and over until you have a total of 106 rows for your blanket. If you have extra yarn and you don't get through it as quickly as I did, you can add more rows if you want to. Your yarn B, you'll go through it quicker because that's the yarn you're using for all of your puff stitches, so you'll run out of that faster. That is normal. But if you happen to have extra of yarn B and you want to add in a couple more rows, you can totally do that. And then you'll want to either finish on a row 6 or a row 4 repeat. So I'm ending on a row 6 repeat, but if you happen to end on a row 4 repeat, that's totally fine as well. As long as you're just adding or removing rows in multiples of 2, you can adjust the length of your blanket. So once you have all the rows you want, we are going to just work a quick and easy border. So after your final row, do not cut off your working yarn. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and then we're just going to single crochet all the way around the border. You'll most likely have run out of yarn B, so this will be done with yarn A, and you can just work 1 single crochet into the top of each of the stitches across after you turn your work. So you should have turned after your final row, chain 1, and then just single crochet in each stitch along the top of the blanket. Once you get to the very last stitch of the row, that chain 3, you're going to work 3 single crochet into the top of it. So we've worked 1 single crochet in each stitch along the top, and then the very last one of the row, work 3 into the same spot. This just helps us to naturally turn the corner of our blanket so that we can start working down the side. Now for the sides of the blanket, you're going to work 2 single crochet into the end of each row. So you can see here, I'm just working them around the entirety of the post or the chains. I'm not putting it through any of the yarn. I'm just working my stitches around the posts completely. Work 2 single crochet for each of these rows all the way down to the next corner. When you reach the very first stitch of the bottom of the blanket, work 3 single crochet into that one, and then continue along the bottom of the blanket with 1 single crochet in each stitch. When you reach the last stitch of the bottom of the blanket in the next corner, work 3 into it, and then work 2 single crochet into the ends of each rows all the way back up the side until you reach where you began. Now finish with 2 more single crochet into the very same spot that you worked your first single crochet stitch into, and then you can slip stitch to join to the top of that first single crochet. And that is it for this blanket. Super easy. All you have left to do is weave in any ends that you have. Here's what it looks like on my big blanket. You can see the color changes much better. I hope you guys enjoyed this pattern. I loved making this one. I think it's one of my new favorites. I hope it was relaxing for you, and thank you guys so much for watching my tutorial, and I will catch you in the next one.